I hadn't really thought about it. Now that you ask.
Pretty sure it was like this way. I think the motor wires were kind of semi-clocked. It's not going to really matter. And this heatsink does have a good feel to it. I am surprised to see that they did put a thermal paste on there. That's kind of saying something, man. I did like seeing that. That's pretty slick. So I think it was kind of clocked like here, something like that. But once we get the motor plate on, keep in mind the orientation of this. You're going to want the 2 screws facing up, 1 screw facing down for this. So when we put it on, it's going to be clocked like that. And that'll give you the indication of how the wires should be. I feel like I want to block these holes. All right. I did put Loctite again on these screws, cleaned them in the juice. And again, it's not Arnold Schwarzenegger strength, but you do need to put on a certain amount of tension on there. That way the Loctite can cure. Motor mounts on there. Again, 2 screws up top, 1 screw down the bottom is how it is oriented. And if I remember right, I do believe that it was kind of like straight on with the top of the fins. Same thing with the pinion. The pinion itself, you can see I've got Loctite on that as well. If it'll focus. Got some Loctite on that as well. There's definitely plenty on there. I did not clean this because it was not necessary. I'm putting Loctite over Loctite and that will work. As far as alignment goes, I'm not going to tighten this up. I did tap it on. I'm going to install it inside of the mount. Again, with this being in here, I had thought about putting some of this oil inside. Put it like this. Put a little squeeze on there. Whoops, a little bit too much. Wear gloves. And maybe that will help. Maybe it'll help. We'll see. It might be overkill, but I'm kind of in the mood for overkill right now with this damn thing. So, in order to get this in there, take that out. Crap. In order to get this in there, put it in like that. And then key in that with the notch facing up. And this should be a very happy bearing now. So, hopefully this is going to work, man. I suspect it will. Hoping that little bit of oil will kind of help. I'll wipe it off with a paper towel. The rest of this is pretty self-explanatory of putting this thing all back together. You don't really need to stick around for the rest of this. You just basically doing the reverse operation, making sure you're thread locking things where it needs to be thread locked. When you're installing this, you want to make sure when you look inside that the pinion lines up with that idler. So pretty much where it's sitting is really close to being where it wants to be. I'm going to push it down just a touch. See how it is? If you look inside of there, we'll throw on a flash. So pretty much inside of there, I'm just going to slide it down just a touch. But look at the quality of that Hobao gear, dude. That's why I use these things, man. Really good quality gears. I'm not saying it's the only gear that's quality, but these are the ones that I use. So can you install a bigger motor? Yes, you can. So this is a BLX, it says hot motor. This is an Arrma BLX 2050 kV. Its number is 390205, 4-pole BLX motor. These motors were great. This is probably the motor that you could install in there. This is also, I think this is either a 2000 or a 2200. I think it's a 2000 kV motor or a 22. I can't remember, but this is a Hobao motor. These motors I've got some pretty good experience with. As far as the can length fitting in this, yes, this can length will fit in that truck. So if you're finding that maybe this motor is just getting too hot, maybe a double fan can't keep up, you either have to readjust your thinking as far as whether you're running on 4S or not. This thing will take 6S. I'm not telling you to do 6S, but this whole rig, this whole thing will take 6S power. You will just kill it just that much faster, but it will take it. The drivetrain components can take it for limited use. So I'm going to put a little bit of thread lock on the 3 screws and a little touch on there, put everything together, center diff, all that good stuff, and then continue moving on with reinstalling into the chassis. Inside of here, this is what the gear mesh should pretty much look like. So this was kind of interesting. This part right here is being freeze framed, and I'm going to reverse and or slow down this clip so that you can see what even my naked eyes couldn't see during the installation of this. We've got some additional wear that I just didn't realize was there. So you've got just a little movement. There should be no movement between this gear and the spur with the way everything goes together. Like I had said before, and like I always say, when you do something like this, if you record yourself doing it, get yourself a tripod, use potentially device that you're watching a video like this, and that will help you with the reassembly. I've done sometimes these enough to semi-remember where things go. I don't always get it right, but you know, you end up with like a lot of piles of screws and whatever, and you kind of keep them separated, and the video can definitely help you because you can play it back. So, that being said, like I had said, I'm going to reverse the drive shaft. Because I don't like all the scraping that's going on here, one of the things I was thinking was, can I apply or put some type of a foam in place to maybe prevent new scratches from showing up in this location? I'm going to kind of try to give it a shot, see if it works. I'm just going to take just regular foam that I hopefully can find somewhere and just overlay it over the drive shaft to potentially stop the debris from getting, it's the chassis brace. It's the top part of the chassis brace where the grit or something gets in there and really, I guess, really pummels this thing, dude. That's a lot of scratches when you look at that thing, and some of them are pretty damn deep. And the longer that happens, it's going to create a weak spot because this drive shaft is only just so thick. So I'm going to find some foam and try to do what I was saying. All right, definitely a weak point. I'll try to show it the best I can. This is definitely a weak point. Okay, see right there? See what's going on? So this 100% was about ready to fail. So look at that. I don't know if this pin is defective or what the heck is going on, dude, but that, dude, how can I'm really trying to show you here. Look at what's going on. Oh, dude, I'm shaking all over the place here trying to show you. I guess I can't show you. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Show you my fingerprints. Look at that. What the hell is that right there? Why is that edge looking like that? Are these pins defective? Like OEM defective? You can see the set screw is like, what? What's the set screw doing? It's creating a dent on an already poor piece of material. Look at that. Look where the bend is. See how it's bending? But look at right to the right. Sorry for moving, dude. I can't. If you realize how much I'm zooming in here to show you, that's why it's like, looks like I'm doing this. But I'm trying to hold it tight. These pins are garbage. All right, so I know it's a lot of work. This really is it's a lot of work, but I hate to say it. That's why I'm telling you, this is really almost the best RC to get. Try to explain. Take a drill bit. I noticed that the pin was kind of hard to pull out, and obviously what happened was the diamond dust got impacted. It's either the chassis or it's the dust getting in there. You just take a drill bit and you just put it in by hand, do the same thing with the arm, do the same thing, and just gets the crap that's in there out. And then when you put things back together, watch this. Come on, dude. Coffee shakes here. See how easy it is? Everything is nice and free, nice and loose, and that's how it should be. So, yeah. Even though I think I've serviced these bearings before, I did kind of pop out the seal. It felt great. Popped out the seal and just threw in a little bit more grease. I'm going to do the same thing to this one. What I'm doing is I'm fully changing over to these axles. If you are in question whether parts fit or not, yes, they do. This is a complete swap over to the WAV Racing Tyrants or Blitzkrieg. So everything is the same. I did compare the arms. This arm does allow more travel. The WAV Racing arm, the shock is about in this position. So it brings the shock out a little bit more and decreases slightly some of that travel of the shock. So, yeah, there you go. Will this work with the WAV Racing Blitzkrieg and Tyrants? 100%. Oh, and the reason why I'm switching over to these is because they have the nice rusty pins. So, I'm going to switch over to this because it's a much healthier setup. I'm going to do the whole swap. I'm going to take the pin out of this, pin and E-clip, and do the madness of relieving this, pulling this pin, and putting the thicker pin in. While this is here, I'm going to pop this open right now, right in front of you, just so you can see, just like the other piece of garbage shaft. I mean, it's a pain in the neck, dude, but you know what? In order to get the better, more secure, stronger pin, this is what you got to do. And believe it or not, I'm believing in this, dude. I really am. So I am going to work this back and forth just because it does have thread lock, and I'm not going to fire up a soldering iron just to do this. Work it back and forth just a couple of times, and it'll come out. I'm fully taking it out. Again, I don't have to, but I'm fully taking it out just so I can get a look at things. So, again, you don't have to fully take this out. So what that will do is allow you to drive that pin out, which you kind of got to put something up against it and give it a couple of taps. So you can kind of push it out, but yeah, there we go. It actually pushed out a lot easier than the other one. So let's take a look at this pin. Let's see if this one is in the same shape as the other one. So here's the original. Here's the one I just pulled out now. So let's get in there. A nice tight finger focus. Nice tight finger focus. And yeah, dude, no. That set screw is marring the pin, creating... Oh, dude, look at that. That's another one of those damn... Look at that. Something's up with these pins. Because that's where the set screw rides. You know what that is. I'll show you. Show you what I think that is. So we just took it out of this one, okay? So... What a pain in the neck, dude. This is such a pain because I got to use the other pin. So... This... Let's see if I can drive it out. Ah, crap. I'm going to put the little set screw back in so I can just give it a push. So that, what it is the, I assume, when the pin, yeah, that's exactly what it is, dude. It's the actual shoulder of this. So because it's like the set screw technically is bending this in the first place, is my guess. So that's a bad design. These pins are a piece of garbage. So far, I don't know if it's really going to work what I'm doing, but I'm putting in the other pins. We're rebuilding these axles with the WAV Racing pins, but I'm still kind of like using Getting lost here, dude. I'm just reusing stuff. I'm reusing things to make things work. So, what a pain in the neck, dude. And I 100% had to use fire. Because again, because that set screw is pretty small. And I know this is a pain in the neck, dude, but this is really going to be, I think, the right way to do this. So, I really do. I think this is the right way to do this. Get some of that debris out of there. This is going to be 100% the right way to go with this thing. So, you're going to have to use these pins, these pieces, with the WAV Racing pins, or you just make your own. Because these are point blank a failure point. Very proven. Do you want this weak point? I know I don't. So I like to joke about proof is in the pudding, right? So here's the pin from the WAV Racing. Here's the pins from the Redcat. I can clearly see a massive difference between them. Focus. The pin in the center is from the WAV Racing. The two other pins are technically being bent by that set screw. So 100%, dude, the one in the middle is the one you want to go with. So, unless you just make your own. All right, so now this is technically the full axle swap. It's such a pain in the neck, but I do believe that it's worth it. So not only do we have the E-clips running through the full 2.5 millimeter pins, but we also have the set screws that lock everything down. So, yeah, dude, it's taking me, I swear, like an hour. But I'm also watching a TV show while I'm doing this too. But and I'm obviously taking parts from parts, and it makes it a lot more difficult. All you're doing is installing 2 pins per axle, 2 factory original, and you're good to go. Me, I'm changing out the gray plastic just because I feel like doing that. You don't have to do this. I'm sure these gray plastics are the same, but this is just the route that I'm choosing to go. Factory Redcat with factory WAV stuff. And hopefully, let's get these drive shafts phased for vibration. Hopefully, this is going to be, hopefully this is going to be a good resolve for this RC. So, I have high hopes.